What if your regret became someone else's roadmap? Have you ever looked back on your life and wished you had done something differently? Said less? Stayed less? Trusted less? Waited less? Or maybe you wish you had spoken up sooner, left sooner, believed in yourself sooner. Sometimes the mistakes we carry do not fade quietly. They stay with us. Not always as loud pain, but as memory, as ache, as the question, what if I had known then what I know now? And for many of us, that question can turn into regret. A private sorrow, a heavy replay, a quiet burden we carry for years. But what if regret is not the end of the story? What if it can become something gentler than shame? Something wiser than sorrow? What if the very thing you wish you had never happened could one day become the wisdom someone else desperately needs? I think many of us have been taught to hide our mistakes, to be embarrassed by them, to keep them tucked away like proof that we failed. But the truth is, every life has chapters we would not choose again. Decisions we outgrew. Moments we mishandled. Years we spent learning the hard way. And yet, those painful chapters often teach us what ease never could. They teach us discernment. They teach us timing. They teach us boundaries. They teach us what to walk away from and what to hold close. Sometimes our deepest wisdom does not come from what went right. Sometimes it comes from what broke us open. From the relationship that taught us what love is not. From the silence that taught us the cost of not speaking. From the fear that showed us how much courage was waiting underneath. And maybe that is why our past mistakes still matter. Not because we should stay trapped inside them, but because they may now carry something useful, something honest, something that could light the way for someone else. There is someone out there standing where you once stood, confused, hurting, second-guessing themselves, accepting less than they deserve, believing things about themselves that are simply not true. And they may not need a perfect person to guide them. They may need someone real. Someone who can say, I have been there. I know how easy it is to lose yourself. I know how long it can take to see clearly. I know what it costs to keep choosing pain when peace is possible. That kind of honesty is not weakness. It is a gift. Because when you speak from a healed scar instead of an open wound, your story becomes a kind of map. Not a map that controls someone else's journey, but one that offers warning signs, gentle direction, and maybe even hope. Hope that says, you are not foolish for what you did not know. You are not ruined by what you survived. And you are not too late to grow wiser from it. There is something deeply beautiful about reaching a stage in life where your regret no longer exists just to hurt you. It begins to soften. It begins to teach. It begins to serve. And sometimes that is how pain is redeemed, not erased, not denied, but transformed into compassion, into wisdom, into a lantern you can carry for someone else in the dark. Maybe the mistakes you made were not pointless. Maybe the seasons you're not proud of still have something sacred to offer. Maybe what once filled you with shame can now fill someone else with clarity. Maybe the lesson you learned too late for yourself can arrive just in time for another person. And if that is true, then perhaps your past is not only a record of what hurt you. Perhaps it is also a record of what taught you, of what shaped you, of what made you gentler, wiser, more honest, more able to reach back to say to someone else, please don't lose yourself here. Please don't settle for this. Please remember your worth before life has to teach it the hard way. That is not failure speaking. That is wisdom. That is legacy. So, if there is something you have been regretting, something you wish you could rewrite, something that still makes your heart wince when you think of it, maybe today you do not need to punish yourself for it. Maybe today you can ask a gentler question, not just, why did that happen? But also, what did it teach me? How did it change me? And who might need the wisdom I carry now? Because perhaps the goal is not to pretend we never made mistakes. Perhaps the goal is to let those mistakes become mercy, guidance, truth, a hand reaching back, a quiet voice saying, I went through this. And if my story can spare you even a little pain, then maybe nothing was wasted. What if your regret was never meant to be the final word? What if, in time, it became someone else's roadmap? And maybe that is how healing turns into purpose.